Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Good evening. For me, good evening. So, we're back in the rain again, would you believe? So that means, of course, that we're back in the mud again, and that means, of course, we're on foot, slipping and sliding up the tunnel, and our usual problems. Well, we've had a couple of harrowing experiences since we came back. We just got back from Hong Kong a couple of days ago, and our two, what looked like our two failed cases are up and running again for us. You know, we had the case of Dennis, who had the tumour in his leg, and looks like that's going to be an amputation, with all of the terrible risks, especially here perhaps, of infection, and then who knows what. So we have him. He has said, I need time to be able to think about this, and then we went to see Michael. Well, like we always say, we never know how these videos are going to turn out when we start going what the Aussies would call walkabout. So, well, we went walkabout, and we went to see Michael, and we showed the video of Michael and how he has deteriorated. It's probably less than a month since we last saw him, but he's down to, it's only a guess, but I don't know, 35 kilos. That's what he looked. He looked like I could have lifted him like a feather. Well, he came to church today, probably because I was there ready to pick him up along with the others. And when we picked him up, he sat in the cab, at the back in the cab, and then there was this extremely upsetting episode where the strain of getting into the cab was so bad that he couldn't hold it in, and he cried out loud for a few minutes. Oh, it was hard to take. As soon as you start caring for anybody, it's hard to hear them be in pain when you know that there's nothing that you can do about them. Well, most of you got it right, and you assumed that looks like he's on the final stretch, I think. Just to sort of try to explain so that you understand how. Oh, by the way, I'm going to have to explain this to you first. I'm holding what looks like a tennis racket. Now, I don't know whether you have this in the modern world, but we have it here because we got mosquitoes, and mosquitoes are the two little creatures that I can never forgive Noah for letting onto the ark. Why didn't he just swat them? Well, anyway, he didn't, because it wasn't on the cards. They were supposed to come and address the earthly balance, the food chain, whatever you want to call it, and so they came on. Well, I've been told since I came back, I've had something of a chest infection, I think, and I've been on antibiotics, and they, over here, one of the most popular, most common in fact, and of course the most cheap way of keeping mosquitoes down is to use a coiled smoke. It burns and it just smoulders and it emits smoke. And I only learned recently, because I wasn't being very bright about these things, it does happen, that in fact it's a little bit like smoking, because it's a carcinogenic. So, can't use that anymore. Well, at one of the Chinese stores I found this. Now, I know that you can't probably see the little red light which shows, or maybe you can, which shows that the battery is live, but you can probably see that there's a light. And there's another light here, look. Oh, oh, that one isn't so bright. But anyway, thankfully, this, as you can see, there's a fine web of what are actually electrical contacts, which run through a battery. It's a rechargeable battery that you unhook this, and it will recharge itself into the mains, into a plug socket, and then when you wave it about, it probably won't work now, but because the mosquitoes are not completely stupid, and when they hear the cracking of the other mosquitoes as they are electrocuted on this contraption that looks like a tennis racket, they stay away, certainly quite a bit. But when it works, you hear them going crack, crack, crackle, 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 and you see a little light where the blessed creature is incinerated. Not to put too fine a point on it. Well, anyway, it's funny because it does illustrate how the mind of someone who has lived an extremely simple life can work, and in the case of Western thinking, can not work. See, because if you look at it, you press this little switch which shows the red light, so it means it's on and you are armed and ready. So you keep that switch down and then you wave it around. Well, if there's nothing there to zap, guess what? It doesn't zap. So it doesn't matter how much you wave it around, it's not a magnet. In fact, it probably repulses. It probably repulses anything. Ah! Did you hear that? It went zap. So we left this, obviously we didn't pack this when we went to Hong Kong for a vacation. I can imagine going through customs and customs saying, yes sir, you're a tennis fan? Well, actually no, this is for, and I'd be explaining again. So anyway, we left this for my mother-in-law, Nanai, and we told Nanai what I've told you. Well, you just press this little switch here, and then you wave it around, and it goes zap zap, and you get rid of the mosquitoes. See, a mosquito passed then, but it completely evaded electrocution. So, she's telling Beth when we came home, she said, well, I tried that, but it didn't work. And Beth said, well, what did you do? And apparently, she pressed the switch down, she waved it around like this, and when it didn't work, she poked it with her finger. I'm sorry, I've got to laugh. I'm not laughing at someone else's misfortune, but it was funny. She poked it with her finger to see if it worked. And of course, it did work, and it shocked it didn't shock the life out of her, but it certainly gave her a big shock, and she dropped the damn thing. Anyway, fortunately, it's a little bit dented over there. I'm not going to show you by poking it. It's a little bit dented, but it has survived the fall. So it kind of just tells you where education is here in our, for me, beloved Philippines. People don't know what you as a Westerner may take for granted as knowing. You know, like basic first aid. They don't actually know. Plus, Filipinos at the bottom grassroots level, one where, got 4 then, I think. So, they don't know at the basic grassroots level what you and I take for granted, like how to stop bleeding. They don't know anything about pressure points. They don't know these things. They don't seem to know too much about how to stop infection. So you see, as we've seen in some of the videos that we've made, you might remember, if you saw the video, how the little girl, one of the 3 little girls family, the little girl had black toes, and we went around there. We saw her one week, Sunday. We see them every Sunday, the three little girls. Well, we saw her limping the first week, well, kids all the time are stubbing their toes and all of that, so I didn't think too much of it. But the following week she was still limping, and I said, I'd like to, can I look? And we sat her up on a stool, and there she's got black toes. Two of her little small digit and the next one to it were black. I mean black, which as far as I know is the onset, if not the full-blown gangrene, because when the flesh turns black it means there's no blood getting there. Well, we rushed her to the hospital, and there, with only four of us to hold this 6-year-old down, or 7-year-old, we managed to get the toes cleaned up. We managed to get her injected for, I think, tetanus was the treatment recommended, and the toes, unbelievably, blessedly, were saved. So, I'm just having another swipe with my annihilator, my electrocutor. So, we saved. Now, prior to that, the mum had seen that the toes were black. Now, you or I might say, why on earth would she not do anything? Well, ignorance is not stupidity, or she didn't know. She didn't know, and it took us to come along and say, we got to get her to the hospital, and we did. Now, when Michael came to us for help, he realized that something was going terribly wrong. He was diabetic, he couldn't afford morphine, and so he came to us, and we got some help for him where he got his morphine. Now, prior to that, we had a visit to the hospital, not to the hospital, to the doctors, and we went, and Dr. C examined him, took his blood pressure, did the whole thing, and then said, okay, you have to go to hospital, and probably you might be in there for 2 or 3 days. And the mother said, no, I don't want him to go to hospital. And even Dr. C, who is a Filipino, was astounded and actually got angry and said, how could you possibly not want your son to go to hospital? Now, I don't want to go over all of that again. We got him into hospital, we got him rehydrated, he was on a drip, he recovered, he got a lot better. We had help for him where he was able to survive. So what happened then was that I got my beloved wife is screaming at the top of her voice saying that I should go and eat. So I'm going to end off fairly quickly so that she doesn't keep shrieking like a banshee. Another side of her that you probably don't realise, that she's got a pair of lungs on her. So we pass on and we see Michael steadily getting better. And then someone even said, if Michael will do the study, I will actually fund him to go and receive extra training which will enable him to get a job. He just couldn't manage it. He didn't have the strength, the energy, the focus, the education to be able to do that. So he didn't do that, and that passed. So now we're at a point where we've gone back to see how he's doing, and it was a shocking sight, which if you saw the video then you would know what it was like, and it was harrowing. Now, this is the point at which we cannot really go any further unless he has come to the realization that, not to get too morbid about it, but he's going to die.
Han, excuse me.
Honey,
Dinner.
I'm making a
Okay.
video. Okay.
Just after that, come down.
Okay, that's fine. There she is. She's calmed down, stopped screaming, and said, "I got to go to dinner." What I'm trying to get over here is that the differences in culture is so great because of education. This is a case now where the mother plans on buying a new miracle drink that you can buy. I guess it tastes a little bit like lemonade, and it's a miracle cure. Of course it's a miracle cure. The people that are selling it are advertising it on television. Whew. What does that leave you with? We don't know what we can do for Michael, but he came to church today, and as I said, it was harrowing, upsetting, heartbreaking to listen to him cry, and trying to deal with that with help. Now, we can only help a certain amount, because if when Michael goes back home someone says, well, that 1,000 pesos that TMB gave you, well, gosh, we could buy 3 or 4 days of the miracle drink instead of all of that morphine injection, which you don't like, do you, Michael? That's where we're at right now. But the thing is, you cannot judge. I just believe the more that I learn, the more that we do here, the more that we help people, the more that we succeed, the more that we fail, I'm convinced that you cannot judge the worth of a person simply by how they agree with the way that you think things should be done. Now, somebody looked at the video of Michael and quite rightly was extremely upset about it, and his language was a little bit colourful, but he said, doesn't anybody in the Philippines give a shit about anybody? Well, the answer to that, man, is yes, we care, and a lot of people care. The Philippine people care. We're all doing the best that we can, and a few people here and there are doing more because they're connected to people who can empower them to help, and that's pretty well describes a little bit about what we do. Sorry, I'm still swatting, and it's not working. I might have to try the nanai test, or maybe not. So some of us are trying. Now, that man that said that didn't say, doesn't anybody give a about anything there? About anybody? Doesn't anybody care? He didn't say, here's 50,000, go and take him to hospital, get him treated, give him 3 months. He didn't say that because he obviously wasn't able to. We get people that say, sincerely, and we believe them, have no other reason for them to write. One man recently said, I can't help with dollars, but I can pray. And we are totally appreciative of every prayer that we get that will help us to help others without judgment. Now, here's a little challenge for you. If you really feel that nobody here cares and nobody's doing anything, this is what I suggest you do. look around your neighborhood, look around your community. Look, search, and find a situation where nobody seems to be giving a shit. And do something about it yourself. However that may be, maybe it means just going round and, I don't know, taking somebody to McDonald's. Maybe it means taking somebody some chicken soup. Maybe it means just being somebody's friend. Maybe it just means showing somebody that you care. But find the situation that is a disgrace to where you live, and you do something about it. You'll actually get much more than you give. Believe me, that's what we've found. So thanks for listening. This has been a long video. It's been a heartbreaking situation. It's not finished. You'll be hearing more. This is a feel-good channel, but that doesn't mean it's about trivial things. Thanks for looking in. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Bye for now. We'll let you know about Michael, one way or another.